if I can find it. Where am I? Page 7, page 8. No. I want page 6. Where's page 6? These things all look the same to me. Where's my stuff? Ah, yeah. And this is all recorded, so it's wonderful. You can laugh at me while you are doing this. So now the next one says here, the directors have identified options to fund 1.5 million needed to import new products and expand the business without increasing the business risk in the next year. What are they saying? What is risk? Risk is loans. So what he's actually saying here is, how am I going to finance it without me taking out a loan? You hear? What funding options can the company consider without taking out additional loans? So now, what do you think? He can issue shares. Right. Hi. So, what are we going to say? I would personally think to go and look on what did they give me. So, I can see the most obvious way to get funds if you can't make a loan is what? Issue shares. Right. So, we're going to issue shares. And what they did here, can you see? They always give a figure. Right? If there is a figure available, you show the figure. If there is not a figure available, oh, so my kid also didn't bring, but he knew better than to ask. You do know that I love you guys, eh? Okay. I'm just saying. I found, so, here we go. So, if there's a figure available, use it. Okay? So, we all said we issued shares. We all know we issued it at 3 million. Okay? Okay? Rather put the amount there than not. Okay. Now they ask me to calculate ratios. Now let me tell you, if you do not get full marks for this, it's your own fault. Because with this, you just need to know your ratios and how to place in the values. But it doesn't mean it's going to be straightforward. Okay, so now let's go look. Where's my questions? That's a good question. Where's my question? I think it's here. No. Yes. So they say, calculate the following indicators. Now, you dare not go look at your format sheet, because the format sheet is a maze of getting deurmekaar. It's a recipe to get lost. So you only use that if you are so uncertain and you just want to make sure. Okay. Go look at the video again where I explain the format sheet. So, net profit after tax on sales. The on makes it a dividing. So you're going to take your net profit on your sales. Net profit was given. Net sales was given. So this is a 2 ticks. Right? And can I tell you the final exam? This would have been 2 accuracy marks. They would not have given a principal. NAV. NAV is she talks too much. She overshares. Right? So, I have my she. I have my shares. Can you see? Straightforward. 3 marks. Now, dividend payout rate is the same as dividend payout policy. So, there's two ratios for that one. It's the DPS over the EPS, or it's the net profit after tax. No, I'm lying. The dividends, the total dividends over the net profit after tax. Because net profit after tax is your earnings. So it's actually, the top is still the same. This is just in rands now, and this is your cents. But this is then the rand version of the cents. That's all. So which one did they give me and which one do I want to use? I know the DPS they gave me, it's 48 cents. Right? Did they give me the EPS? No. So let's rather try this one. What was my total dividends? Now remember, your total dividends is the interim and the final. Okay? So the final was given, ne? The interim you had to calculate. Remember, we calculated it in the previous thing already. Here. There's the interim. And the final was given. So you can add those two. Or you can take the 800, because remember, every share got the 48 cents. Then you get that. This was given. There we go. And by the way, what does this thing tell me? If I asked you analysis, what would a dividend payout rate or policy tell you? It would tell me that that is the percentage dividends paid out. Ne? And if I take 100 less the 23.5, it will tell me how much I retained, which is quite a lot. Okay. And you can actually see, oh, maybe that's why the retained income is so high, because they want to expand next year. Remember, that's what they asked in the previous question. Okay, the next one I would do is question 3, if I can find it. I found it. There, question 3. So question 3 is that type of question that it's mainly easy if you know how to classify. Alright? So, if I look at this, I can immediately already see profitability, it's my on ratios. Ne? It's all my on ratios. Liquidity is those 6 ratios. Dividends payout policy, ne? Is what is the dividends versus the retained income. Share price on stock exchange, that's my market price, and I compare that with the issue price and the NAV. Financing, we would have to read what they are asking about financing. But I'm thinking financing might be about my risk. So it might be debt equity or ROTCE. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so already I see which ratios I'm going to use. So now I look. Here is my ratios. I'm on the wrong page. Here's my ratios. Yeah. Hey, baby. They say, now first of all, can you see they give me 2 companies, right? So the 2 companies say, this guy has got shares in both. And now this note they give sometimes and sometimes they don't. But it's always applicable. If you quote, you have to quote the name and the figure. and give a reason. So profitability. First thing I do before I even read what they say is I go look. Which ones is my profitability? Oh, it's the markup, it's the operating expense, and it's the net profit. Which one can I control? Which one do I have more control over really? Your markup, nay. And you can see your markup. Can you see they brought their markup down? Both of these companies. No, I'm lying. He brought it up and he kept it the same. Woo! I almost read it wrong. Here we go. Next one. Now they ask. Where am I? Quote, 2 financial indicators with figures and trends of the company that showed an improvement in their operating efficiency. So now, when I go look at this, I will always first look at the other ones, not the markup. I will first look at the other ones. Now, if you look at this, can you see Nasha went up, for operating expenses went down, Dodo went up. Net profit went up, went down. Which one is the better one? Nasha. So, because this is good and this is good. Right. So now, let's go look at the answer. Can you see? Financial indicator with figures. You don't even have to say Nasha is better. Just by quoting Nasha. Ne? So, let's see. Percentage operating expense decreased from this to this. Percentage net profit after tax increased from this to this. And they say there, do not accept the markup.
May please explain the markup?
I think they say that the markup is not necessarily an indication of better control. Because they could have decided to mark up at a higher price. It's not because of their operations that it went better. That's why I'm saying in a lot of examples, if you go through the papers, they will say, do not accept markup. And also, in the next questions, he's going to ask about it. Where's my stuff? I must just not be so demakar. Let's try not to be demakar. Liquidity. So now I go, look, I've got 6 ratios. Which 6? Current ratio, asset test, debtors collection, creditors payment, stock on hand, stock turnover. And they only gave me 3. Can you see they're tricking you again by putting solvency in between the previous one and this one? Please don't be tricked by nonsense. So now, what is the question? The directors of Dodo, so now they are specifically Dodo. So now you only work with Dodo. Are concerned about stock control. Quote 1 financial indicator and other relevant financial data to support his concern. So now let's look. The current ratio went a bit down, but it's still good. The asset test went a bit down, but it's still good. The stock turnover went down. That's a concern. What does this mean? It means I sold out less than last year, meaning my stock does not turn into money as fast as it did last year. This is about speed. Okay. So I will quote this one. So what did they quote? Financial indicator, stock turnover rate. So you will get a tick there. Decreased to 8.2. Okay. But now they want a financial data. This isn't financial data. And now you will see here at the bottom, they talk here about trading stock deficit. So it's actually in your face, because it's the only data. This is the data they gave me, financial data. It's not ratios. So now look at the deficit. You see? So now they wanted you to say the trading stock deficit increased. Okay. Do not fall into the habit of trying to get the difference, whatever. It's that we do with budgets, not here. Here, can you see, if you say trading stock deficit, that's one tick, has increased to 2503. That's another tick. Okay. But can you see, it's all about the reading. This guy wants you to read. Please, guys, read. Next one. Dividend payout policy. Explain to Ben which company has accumulated sufficient money to finance expansion in the upcoming financial year. So how do we accumulate money? Through saving. Ne? We want to save money. That's how you accumulate money. So what account in companies shows you how much money you save? Oh, I left out one. Ne? Is that why you're frowning? But why don't you talk? You've got a beautiful voice and everything. Here we go. Nah, he's used to compliments. So, provide one factor for each company. Oh, that's wrong. Where's the other one? It's this one that I skipped. Identify the company that holds more stock. Show calculations and explain by using financial indicators. Now he's testing that you understand that the difference between the current ratio and the asset test ratio is the stock that you keep. Does that make sense to you? Because the current ratio is current assets to current liabilities. What is current assets? It's your inventory, receivables and cash. The asset test is your receivables and cash. Can you see it's not your inventory? So if you get the difference between the current assets and the liquid assets, you get what the stock is that didn't turn into money. So now I am just going to look at this here. So look at these two. So who is currently holding on to more stock? If I look at this, can you see 1.9 less 1.1 gives me, so I can say Nasha, ne? Nasha kept 0.821. You get that? Please don't just say 0.8. You have to show the 21. What does Dodo give? What is that? 1.521. So Dodo is the problem. Can you see? 0.5, 0.8. Dodo is holding more stock. You don't even have to say that. Is holding more stock than Nasha, because I showed that. You don't have to show the 0.7. So they would mark it like this. If you said 0.7 more, you would get 3 marks. I think this option is safer. You understand what's happening? Okay, dividends payout. Let's go again. They ask me, which company accumulated sufficient money to finance expansion in the upcoming year? So they're asking me about the retained income. Okay. Now, if I go look here, where's the earnings? The payout policy. Do they give it to me? I don't see it. I don't see it, so it means you're going to have to go calculate it. You see what I mean? So if I look here, if I look at Nasha, the dividends over the EPS gives me what percentage? Anybody? 50. On the dot 50.
50,35.
Okay, 50.3%. Meaning their retained income is 49.7%, which is quite high. So they give half of their stuff as dividends, but the other half they are keeping. Let's look at Dodo. I think the name Dodo says everything. Okay, so 86 over 89 times 100 gives me 90. 96, meaning only 4% is retained. Can you see how to do this? So I'm going to say Dodo retains 3.4%, Nasha retains 49.7%, so Nasha retains more profit. Ne? What do you say? I didn't hear, baby. You must? Nasha is the one. Nasha is the one. So now, comment on the change of share price on the JSE of each company at the end of the financial year. Quote figures and trends. So let's go look at the JSE price. So the first thing you can say does increase or decrease. Ne? Let me just see. The second thing is you can also compare it to the NAV. And that's what I think is a better option. I would combine both, that my life is safe. I would say Nasha market price increased to 1320, which is higher than the net asset NAV of 1028. So I've covered this trend and this comparison. Dodo market price decreased to 720, which is lower than the NAV of 792. This is my ability. This is what I can do. So let's see what they did. Market price is less than NAV. Can you see? If I just did the decrease, it's only 1 mark. But if I compared it to the NAV, it's 2 marks. Can you see I covered my bases? Next one. Provide one factor for each company that could have influenced changes in their share price. And then they give me this beautiful block again. Okay. So, what could have influenced what happened to them? Let's have a look. So, if I look at Nasha, what do you think is really good here? What is an investor going to look at? If I invest in a company, what is it that I'm interested in? Why do I invest? For my money to grow, and to get something back. So, what would be for me an indication that there's growth? I will go look to the Roshi. I will most definitely go look at the Roshi. So if I look at the Roshi, I can see here that Nasha increased. And what do I compare it with? The interest on fixed deposits. Is it more or less? It's more, ne? Dodo is also more, but the company in itself decreased. Okay, so let's see if I did it right. So here they do not want anything else. They are saying here a lack of investor confidence. Company shares are undervalued. Where did they get that? If I look at this, yeah, you say NAV and compare to what? The market price. If you now look here, can you see people aren't willing to pay what it's worth? Okay. Company, lack of growth or innovation. There might be a cash flow problems, which we already established because of their stock turnover. High debt concerns. Where will I see that? In the debt equity ratio, which is quite high. Lack of innovation compared to competitors. Can you see that is a random thing they took out of the air? So this thing they would literally mark very easy. Nasha, high demand of shares. How do I know there's a high demand of shares? Because the market price is so much higher than the NAV and it increased. Meaning people are buying more now. So it's a popular share. Why is it popular? Because I would say also there, the Roshi increased so much. I would put it in there and I'm quite sure you'll get your mark. There is significant growth prospects. Why? Oh, because of the retained income. Consistent high earnings. What is that? I look at my EPS. So, and also my return. This is also earnings. Okay. Credibility of management. Can you see that is something business studies, So this one, they didn't want figures. And I could see that because of the mark allocation. Okay, next one. The chief operating officer of Nasha persuaded the senior management team to take out a loan. Oh, of course, then it is debt equity and Rotki. Remember, debt equity is about your risk. And it's not about your personal risk, it's about the risk for the person lending money to you. Rotki is about your gearing. It's about, does this loan push you forward or pull you back? Quote, one financial indicator with figures and trends to okay, so he wants to take out a loan, quote, one indicator and trend to confirm this statement. So this is Nasha. So if I look at Nasha, can you see that the debt equity increased? Meaning their loans are more. So this is what you're going to quote. The debt equity increased to 0.5 to 1. That's all they wanted. Now I'm asking you, is this low geared or high geared? It's neither one. You're going to say it is moving towards high geared. Because you can see the movement is going up. Okay. Where's my page 9? Who took it? Is it Mateo? With the H. I can't find my next question. 8, 7. I can't find 9 and 10. Oh, let me just pause that you don't watch me back. Okay, now they're talking shareholding. Now when they talk shareholding, we're talking majority. When we're talking majority, always use 51%. It just makes your life easier. Calculate the total amount that Ben received from selling his shares in Dodo. Okay, let's go look. In Dodo, this is the total shares in issue. This is the total owned by Ben. He used to own 301. Can you see he used to be the majority shareholder? Okay, so now let's quickly look. Ben sold 132,000 shares in Dodo and purchased an equal number of shares in Nasha. So, how will I know how much he got for his shares? Where am I going to look? Where am I going to look? Where is he going to sell it? On the market. Do they give me the market price for the shares? Yes, they do. If I can find it, I'll show you. I obviously can't find it. Oh, it's here. Here we go. Market price. So he's selling at 720. How many? No? No. What is this now? Comment on the change in share price in the JSE. We've already done that. We've already done that. Where's my next page? Oh my goodness, let me just pause again. So, if I look here now, at my share, must I stop the video and start a new one? Okay, now I continue till 40 minutes. Continue. Okay, now if I look at this, can you see? He received from selling his shares 132. Where does he get the 933? No, the market price is 720. Oh, he sold at the beginning of the year. Okay. So that's why we use the 933. Okay, that's a catch. I didn't catch. You guys get it? Okay. No, not the joke. Do you get that? Why you should use the 933 and not the 720 like I said? Because they say in the case study, he sold it. Note, these transactions took place in the beginning of the year. So if you look at this, this is the end of the financial year. Okay. Please make a note. Can you see again? This guy wants you to read. Calculate the additional amount apart from the amount earned from the sale of his shares that he had to contribute to buy the shares in Nasha. Now remember they said he bought an equal amount of shares in Nasha. But Nasha had a market price the beginning of the year of 11 Rand 23. So if I take the 11 Rand 23, this is how much he's short, he has to pay. This is how much he got through selling. So he still needs to add this much. Happiness? Next one. Calculate, explain two benefits that Ben will lose after selling his shares in the Dodo. He's now you know, what all the kids wrote is he is no longer a majority shareholder. Now can you see, that's not what they asked. What did they ask? Two benefits he's going to lose. So, what benefits does majority shareholding give you, that he now no longer has? He doesn't have the swing vote anymore, He will no longer be able to influence decisions. He can have a big influence because he still owes a lot of shares, but not as much as he used to. And what happens if you have less shares? You get less dividends. So you can also say, he's losing dividends now. Even though it sounds like a stupid thing to say, and you want to say profound things to impress me when we mark, this is still a truth. If you sell your shares, you get less dividends. So there, he will lose a portion of dividends that he used to earn. So keep it easy for yourself. Ne? He has less voting power. He gets less dividends. Perfect answer. Last one. Ben's second last one. Ben's shareholding percentage will change after buying additional shares in Nasha. He is now the majority shareholder. Explain 2 potential challenges or problems of being a majority shareholder. This is something we've never done. What can be a problem for you if you are the majority shareholder? So let's see what they say. Let's not waste time. You stand to hold more accountability. Ne? Increased responsibility to make key decisions that affect the company. And you know what? Some people crave that power. And some people just fold under that power. So it doesn't help to think, oh, more money, more money. Rather diverse your portfolio over a lot of companies than take on this responsibility. Unless your heart is in this company. So someone who wants to be a majority shareholder is someone who wants to be part of the decisions. And usually that would be the person who started the company or who was part of starting the company. Eh? That might be a reason why you would want to do it. Losing a significant amount of money when the company performs poorly. You know, even the Bible says you have to put your eggs in different baskets. When you invest, they always talk about your investment portfolio because you never invest in only one company. You diversify. You put in some high risk, some low risk, some who pay out high dividends, some that don't pay out dividends but is going to expand so you can sell your share at a profit. You diversify. Decisions made may benefit him personally, but not the company. Like what? What kind of things? Yes, baby. He can vote in that the dividends increase, despite the fact that the company's liquidity might be not that strong. He may be blamed for poor performance in the company. Why? Because he's the guy making the decisions. The reputation of the company depends on his reputation. You still remember that CEO years back that was in the newspapers because he was eating sushi of girls' tummies. Yeah. He may be expected to inject more capital during tough times. You guys must always remember this. Big money always comes with a sacrifice. Let's go. Next one. Success of a director. Explain 3 essential qualities of a director in a profitable company. Yo, that was for me difficult. I hate theory questions. But look here. Now you've got a little bit more under your in your asylum, ne? What do they call it? What do they call where you put all your weapons? Arsenal. In your arsenal, in your inventory. Because this is actually a question for question 4 also. So good leadership, make good strategic decisions, have long-term vision, have ethical standards, and you guys, they no longer mark single word responses. You can say this is 6 marks, meaning it's 2 marks for each one. They're not going to mark if you say ethical. They will mark if you say he needs to be upholding ethical standards. Okay, you guys get me?